We recently put up a video about Henry Cavill quite possibly returning to star in another Superman feature film, as well as the rumors of Ben Affleck possibly returning to Batman. Now, we're going to flesh out those stories a little bit more, because we have learned some more rumors from behind the scenes of DC on film. In this video then, I will go through what allegedly will be J.J. Abrams' role with DC on film, how reliant all plans going forward are on the reception of the Snyder Cut, and how a shift in power behind the scenes have brought about all of the changes we've seen so far, and very well could continue to see. As usual when reporting on rumors, I must preface by saying that what I'm about to report isn't anything we can verify, so it must be taken with a grain of salt and treated as just that, rumor. This time, however, the rumors did not reach us directly from insiders who for obvious reasons do not wish to be identified, but a known scooper which has a proven track record in breaking stories such as this. That would be Mikey Sutton, who even if we didn't pick up on it at the time, has been saying that the Snyder Cut would be released since last November, which it has since been confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter was when the process to get it released begun. Several of his other scoops have also proved accurate with time, so he has our attention now. His most recent scoop has already been reported on by Culture Minefield and Lords of the Longbox, so kudos to them. What I'm going to do is break it down, topic by topic, and first read Sutton's original scoop, and then do what we do best here at Midnight's Edge, which is to put it into the larger context of other known information as well as other rumors. The original scoop begins with Fly Talk, June 3rd, 2020. Superman is not dead. Now, if you saw our previous video, this is not news to you, but keep in mind, officially, a second Superman movie has not been in development for years, and technically, it still isn't. This is just a rumor. We already covered this, but Sutton's scoop goes beyond campias. It continues. The same source who provided me with the information that the Snyder Cut was happening on HBO Max in November and Henry Cavill will return as Superman in March has dropped another one which should please DCEU fans. I am told that the speculation floating around Man of Steel 2 not happening is erroneous. There is growing interest at AT&T of a Man of Steel sequel, and they see the Snyder Cut as an explosive promotional vehicle for that project going forward. At this point, there have been no discussions with Zack Snyder about helming Man of Steel 2, but he is expected to be approached. Here, I'd like to interject that reportedly, the movie is going to be a Bad Robot production. There is, in principle, nothing preventing Zack Snyder from directing Bad Robot Superman for producer J.J. Abrams. Though I would not bet more than I can afford to lose on that actually happening. Moving on. AT&T has strong faith in the Snyder Cut living up to the hype, and the social media response from the fans has them thrilled about how they can expand the franchise. Here, I would like to stress that all of this depends on the actual reception to the Snyder Cut though. If it is the hit that AT&T hopes and believes it will be, then that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Outside of this report, Sutton has also indicated that Ben Affleck's return as Batman is dependent on the reception of, and before that, hype for the Snyder Cut, and the public interest in a Batfleck return. There reportedly have been no formal talks to that end, emphasis on formal, but Affleck apparently is in a different place in his life right now than he was when he dropped out. And every bit as importantly, so are those he couldn't work with before. So if the fan demand is there, Affleck is reportedly keen on returning to Batman. If you want to see that happening, be very vocal about it, because they're hoping you will be and they are listening for it. But let's get back to this scoop, which now touches on exactly what role J.J. Abrams has with the future of DC on film. You will recall that J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot has a production deal with Warner, not just their DC division. Sutton's scoop reads, regarding J.J. Abrams and Superman, that is up in the air, so to speak. What they mainly wanted from Abrams is to provide content for HBO Max, and his focus is realizing his own IPs. He will do DC projects such as Justice League Dark, but AT&T is mainly expecting cutting-edge TV shows such as Lost, which generate critical acclaim and massive buzz. Abrams will direct movies too, but his signing isn't really about DC. He wants creative control, his own playground, especially when it comes to DC. But AT&T now wants to continue with the foundation Snyder put together, build on it, not tear it down. With HBO Max, Abrams will have the freedom to drive his own car. So whatever involvement will be in Superman theatrically will have to be under some sort of compromises, or perhaps none at all. Now that's important, perhaps the single most important part of this scoop, so let's reiterate that. What Sutton reports here is that for DC, they have decided to move forward on the path set forth by Zack Snyder. J.J. Abrams wants full creative control, but on DC, he won't get it. If he is to direct Superman, he will have to adjust his vision to the rulebook of what AT&T wants to keep of what Zack Snyder laid out. By contrast, JJ will have full creative control on whatever original programming he comes up with, and that is indeed why Warner primarily signed him on. So even if he does decide that Superman is too high-profile a project to miss out on directing, he won't be allowed to run wild with it. There will be no Superman flyby redux. But these are still very early days. Sutton concludes his scoop by saying, the reception of the Snyder Cut will be where final decisions are made. Right now, it's looking bright, especially with The Rock wanting to at least cameo in Man of Steel 2 if it goes forward, and probably will. Your fly in the ointment, Mikey Sutton. The importance of that last bit there, of The Rock wanting to cameo in Man of Steel 2, cannot be overstated. The reason we are getting all of these DC news right now, the reason why we are covering it as much as we do, the reason we are getting the Snyder Cut in the first place is an ongoing tectonic shift of power behind the scenes of DC on film. There are three major people of note here. Those three are Henry Cavill, The Rock himself, Dwayne Johnson, who has been attached to the role of Black Adam for more than a decade, and Dani Garcia. Dani Garcia is Dwayne Johnson's ex-wife, but their breakup appears to have been an extremely amicable one, because she is his production partner. She runs his production company, which is code for corporate tax shelter, and on top of that, she serves as not just his agent, but Henry Cavill's agent as well. In other words, Man of Steel 2 looks set to have both Henry Cavill's Superman, Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, and more likely than not, be co-produced by his production company. You know what that translates to?
Lots of money. Play.
That's right, a whole lot of money. They'll fight very, very hard for all of that money. Granted, they've tried doing that for years already, but that wasn't enough before, because they didn't have enough clout with the previous administrations to get either any more Superman or Black Adam projects rolling. But that was before AT&T decided Warner had mucked this up enough and decided to step in. AT&T are heavily invested into the Snyder Cut and his vision for DC. The trio of Garcia, Johnson, and Cavill align themselves with that, and now they have clout. Now, pending the reaction to the Snyder Cut, things will be happening. But nothing is yet set in stone. This is a tectonic shift that is still in progress, so expect many more developments and revelations from behind the scenes of DC on film going forward, and expect us to keep you up to date with them. Before you go, I would ask one thing of you. If you haven't done so already, go check out the YouTube channel of our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett. He is not just an industry professional and a connoisseur of film and genre entertainment in all its forms. He is also a good and principled man who treats everyone with respect, even those whose political persuasion runs counter to his. But his willingness to have a conversation did not win him any favors with those firmly entrenched in the authoritarian end of his political aisle, which sadly includes a number of people he worked with. The moment he sent a tweet where the intended spirit was clear and just, but the letter with bad will could be misunderstood, they all piled on him. Even those that demanded he delete the offending tweet retweeted a screen grab of it after he did, and then proceeded to call for all his peers to cancel him across the board. Now, I'm sure those calling for his cancellation sooner or later will slip up and find themselves in the crosshairs of their own circular firing squad. And it'll serve them right, but this time they came for someone that did not deserve it. There is nothing much any of us can do with any of that, but of all of us movie and genre entertainment pundits, Robert Meyer Burnett is the best, and many of you know that. But if you don't, if you haven't done so already, now is the perfect time to check out his channel and listen to his insights, knowledge, and passion. You will be glad you did, and you will have taken a stand against cancel culture in the process. With that said, let me know your thoughts on all of these DC revelations in the comments.